Hey everybody, Hogan Brown with Loon Outdoors, and I'm starting to fill my trout boxes for the fall and the winter now, and looking at flies that I've been tying and kind of things that I could maybe share with you. I wanted to share a real simple, very versatile pattern. By no means do I claim it as my own. We refer to it in our guide circle as Hogan's Gumball. Basically, it's kind of taken from the Euro style of fly tying, but it's kind of an attractor or a dropper that we would fish. We start to fish some egg patterns and such in the fall and even into the winter, and this is a good nymph to kind of fish behind that, or even fish below a hopper in some of that late season hopper dropper fishing we get out here on the West Coast. Real simple fly. I tie it with pink in pink. That's where you get the Gumball kind of name, but one of those flies that, again, you could tie in any different color combination. Okay, basically the wire, the dubbing, and the bead usually need to match, and along with the legs or the crystal flash legs. And you could try this in purple, pink, hot orange, any of those kind of attractor colors you like, or really simplify it down to more of a traditional pheasant tail combination in, copper wire, copper bead, and some PT or even some peacock herl style dubbing in the middle. So again, very versatile, simple, easy to tie with a lot of different variations. First component of this fly is the hook. We use a Firehole 633, size 16, general kind of nymph hook from Firehole. Okay, straight shank. Also work if you want to build this on a more of a Euro style or a jig hook, you can do that as well. For the bead, I use, again, tungsten bead, Pink Panther, Firehole. This is a 1/8 inch. They say it's good for a number 10 or 14, but I always oversize these as I obviously this is a fly I want to get down. So for the thread on this, I'm going to start with a 6/0 small, or 8/0 black. I use uni thread, but whatever you feel comfortable using, I like black on this. And I'm going to work that thread to the back of the hook. Once I get the thread to the back, I'm going to trim off that tag end. And I'm going to use a piece of small flow pink ultra wire for my rib. Take that. I like to always make sure to tie that wire right on the side of the shank to help with the profile. Then work that thread back down. Then I'm going to take, a dozen, half dozen, kind of depends on the thickness of the fibers. Pheasant tail. Okay, and usually basically what I tell people, just your basic equivalent of a normal pheasant tail. Tie that in, give it kind of 2 wraps, secure it to the hook shank, move that thread forward, and then just standard palmer as I was tying a general pheasant tail. Same proportions. That wire out of the way. Tack it down. Trim that, then take that wire, palmer forward. Tie it off. Trim that excess wire. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the Spawn Semi Seal. This is shrimp belly. Okay, this is a collaboration they did with John Romer, one of my favorite dubbing makers. Take just a pinch. A lot of this, if you look, it's big, long, stiff fibers, and kind of a little goes a long way. And to get the real full kind of effect of this dubbing, a little is the trick. Okay, one thing with this dubbing that you'll look at is you'll see There's some very stiff fibers in there, and then there's some very kind of thin, more pliable fibers. And what I like to do with this is as I put it on, especially on nymphs like this, the kind of thinner, more antron-based fibers will grip to the thread on a tight spin like that a lot better. And those longer, kind of buggier fibers will begin to poke out. Okay, giving it a little bit of a body, kind of a little bit of a bulk. And that's essentially true of all John's dubbings. Next, I'm going to take a piece of hot pink crystal flash. Okay. I'm going to take it, fold it in half, then set it right behind the hook, then just kind of pin it back. These are going to be just basic legs. And give it a little bit, because what we're going to have there is a little black head. And I'm going to tie that fly off. Trim the thread. I take my thread, or my crystal flash legs, kind of pin it back, look right to the back of the pheasant tail, cut it. That's kind of my guide for my length on this fly. I don't pull it tight, but just a little bit of loose, pops forward. Then I'm going to turn that fly over, take a little bit of UV clear fly finish in the flow. Just give it a little dab, let that kind of flow around, and then hit it with my UV light. And that is what I call Hogan's Gumball. Nothing super fancy, nothing I would even say original. I'm sure there's a bunch of different flies that look just like it, maybe even exactly like it, but it is a fly that I use and fish as a dropper late summer into the fall, even when we get some off-color water in the winter. So tie a few up, vary the colors, try all the different color combinations that you want, different hooks, jig style, whatever works for you in your fishery. And hopefully it works as well for you as it does for me.